Jeff and Alison Crowther are here, and their son Welles is a hero from 9/11. I mean, this is a guy that rescued multiple people, some say at least a dozen people from the South Tower, and his legacy lives on. He was an athlete, he was a friend, tremendous lacrosse player at Boston College, and tremendous, and so happy and honored to be joined down by his parents. And Jeff, I want to start by asking about the red bandana, because that is, it's turned out to be quite something. This is
very important to him.
You gave it to him when he was 6 years old.
6, 7, somewhere in there. We were getting dressed for church one morning, and I had my suit on already, and I would always have in my suit, I would always have a nice crisp white handkerchief in the breast pocket. And Wells said, "Dad, can I have one?" And I said, "Sure." I went into my room, to the bureau. I got out a fresh hanky. I folded it up nice. I slipped it in his pocket. And I had also grabbed Fred. That's all right, Fred. I got a couple. I had also grabbed a red bandana from my drawer. I always had reds and blues, and I just used them. I would carry them in my back right pocket, just, if I had to wipe up a mess or I had to blow my nose, whatever. Sure. So I gave him the white one, and I said, "Here, this is for show." I said, "The red one, put in your back pocket, and that's when you have to blow your nose, so you show and blow, okay?" And it's interesting. On the very first anniversary of 9/11, we were interviewed by the BBC, downtown New York City, and it was broadcast worldwide. And sitting across the table from us at the interview was Spike Lee. And when I'm telling the story about the red bandana and the blue bandana, he's giving me the look. Like, "What are you talking about? Are you talking about Crips and Bloods?" I said, No, Spike, nothing to do with Crips and Bloods. I hadn't even heard of them then. And he said, "Oh, okay." But anyhow, he always had it. He would use the red bandana when he played ice hockey. He was a big ice hockey player all through high school, and actually before high school on a travel hockey team. But he would tie it around his head to keep the perspiration out of his eyes. And playing lacrosse in high school, college, same thing, always had it. And it was interesting because his teammates would tease him a little bit about it, but he was the type of kid who had such self-confidence. When he was a little leaguer, he started out as a pitcher, because he was the only kid who could get up there and wasn't flustered or afraid or nervous. He just cranked the ball in. He did the job. He had wonderful self-confidence, and I'll never forget one of the umpires even said to me after a game, he said, "For a 9-year-old kid, boy, did he have a sense of self and self-confidence." He said, "I've never seen a kid pitch like that." Well, it's my job. It's what I do on this team, and that's what I'm going to do. But he was a team player also, so he would always, whatever it was, whatever sport he was in, he always made sure that everybody around him had a chance to do something good. One of the boys on his ice hockey team, when he was a senior, this other young man, John Scott, and John was I think a sophomore, and he hadn't scored a goal yet. He, got to play in some. He wasn't a first-line player. I don't even think he was a second-line player. He may have been third or fourth-line player. And Wells went to the coach and said, "Hey, Dave, John's never had a goal." He said, "Put him on my line." And Dave said, "You want him on your line?" I said, "Yeah, put him on my line the next shift." Then he went back and said, "John, you're playing with me. If I go on the ice, you come with me." And so he said, "John, if I get the puck, I'm coming down the boards on the right side." He was a right wing. "I'm coming down the boards on the right-hand side. And I want you to just skate right down the middle, keep your stick on the ice." Wells got the puck. He skates down the right-hand boards. He's got the puck. And all the other teams knew that Wells had a wrist shot that was deadly.
And he set him up.
So, yeah, and they all pulled over. Wells flipped it onto John's stick. He one-timed it right in the net. And the kid was on his toes dancing. He was so excited.
It's interesting because I was going to ask you the character of your son to do what he did, to go back in that building multiple times and go upstairs. And I think you just answered it for me. You really did. I mean, it tells a lot about what he is. Alison, I want to ask you, sports, such a big part of his life and your life. And we were talking a little bit about, just getting out on the field today and kind of feeling the joy of that. I know it was certainly emotional, but when you see throwing out the first pitch tonight, what are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I was just so happy that there was such appreciation of what our son did by the Mets organization and by Gotham Networking Group to set this up with you all. It just so heartwarming and uplifting. It was really uplifting, and we just know Welles loves sports so much, all kinds of sports, that he would be really proud of his dad tonight, seeing him do that first pitch. That's just amazing.
Last thing, what's really nice about this and honoring your son and his heroic acts is, here today and is part of it. But for instance, this weekend at Boston College, where he went, football team is wearing on their helmets, on their jerseys, red bandana. There's a race of there's so much evidence of him around. What does that mean, if you could sum it up? What does that mean to see this support now for him?
Well, it means to me that his last, I always say, most people, their children they leave behind are their legacy. Wells's legacy is what he did in the last hour of his life. But it is I don't want to call it a model, but it is an example of what other young people should be doing with their lives. And I always tell, when I meet with kids, and I say, yes, he was a hero. He saved lives as a hero. But you can be a hero, and you don't have to save lives to be a hero. You're going in the mall, and you see someone coming out and their arms are full of packages, run up, hold the door open for them. That's heroic.
There's a score run here, but that doesn't even matter at this point.
Yeah, no, that's heroic. That's an important thing to do. I said, if you're walking down the sidewalk and you see some trash and there's a receptacle 10 feet away, pick it up, put it in the receptacle. That's being a hero, too.
But it's in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah. There are so many ways you can do things that help all of us, that are important things, and doing it, that's heroic.
And your son did just that. I got to tell you, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate that, both of you.
For us, it's a real honor to be interviewed by you.
Thank you. And for Welles, thank you for that beautiful recognition.